What's up, guys? It's your boy Zowoki back out with another of the Chris Watts videos, of course, and we are looking at a new YouTube channel. I've actually been discussing and talking with this lady about, obviously, Chris Watts, Nichol Kessinger, the whole Watts deep dive and so forth, and we're actually going to be doing a live this Sunday, so stay tuned to that, but we're going to be talking about Nichol Kessinger's chilling theory. Chris Watts' girls saw everything, and that's probably why they were unfortunately disposed of disgustingly from their father, or possibly somebody else. So with that being said, before we go any further, if you guys could do me a solid favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting that white bar icon down at the bottom right, hit that bar icon or bell icon, not bar icon, hit the bell icon next to it, so when I do post videos like this one, you guys will get that little ring notification that I've posted that video, and then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, I am truly blessed to have all of you guys, almost 65,000 subscribers strong, and it's all because of you guys. I may have had a little help, but it's all because of you guys. Again, what I would like you guys to do, if you guys have not done so already, I definitely looked at the comments, and there is definitely some Zowoki people in there. But if you guys have not already, go over to Crafted Evidence Podcast. She's newly into the YouTube scene, but go over to her channel, give her some love. You know the deal. Subscribe, comment, like, and share to her channel. Let's get her up there where she deserves to be at. And with that being said, let's get into the video. Ooh, the creepy music.
Hey there, crafties. Welcome back. If you're a new subscriber, thank you for coming to the channel and joining us. We're doing a book review right now of Letters from Christopher by Shanann Nichol. I'm going through the book and telling you some of the best audio clips and pieces of the book that I thought were great. I am not reading the book word for word. On my channel, I do respect copyright law, so you're not going to see me using, for example, the picture of Nichol Kessinger by the Denver Post. That was taken by a photographer for the Denver Post.
Oops.
You do not have permission to use it. Using video news interviews, you don't have permission to use that. There's certain ways to use it, but you need to do your research on that. I'm noticing a lot of content creators out there just stealing content. That's not how we do it on my channel. Let's get into it.
I've asked for permission.
That's another reason I'm not going to read Shanann's book word for word. This is her book, and if you want to know word for word, you need to buy the book. We are continuing on chapter 24. Christopher is in Weld County Jail at this point in the chapter. While he's there, 3 odd occurrences happen at the house. You may have heard about this. Let's take a listen.
The neighbors were seeing a woman walking around in the garage. There are police cam videos of 4 policemen arriving at the Watts house.
Whoa, hold on. Hold on.
Neighbors were seeing a woman walking around in the garage. There are police cam videos of 4 policemen arriving at the Watts house.
Is this the one that we were talking about before with the whole mystery woman? Is this the same thing?
Clearly shown, the garage lights were on.
Oh, yes, okay.
As they opened the front door, they were met with eerie darkness coming from the house. They went inside and yelled several times.
Which we have seen on body cam footage. Very creepy, very eerie. We've seen, again, on a couple of those cops' body cams, we've seen them checking the kitchen multiple times. We've seen a light from the refrigerator, possibly somebody sitting in a chair. I can't say for 100% certainty because I don't know about the unknown. That's why we learn about the unknown when it comes to the paranormal aspect. But we're not going to go into that part. We're just going to be focusing on this.
Whoever was in the house to make themselves known. There was no answer.
I think somebody was hiding in there.
The garage, and with guns drawn, opened the door to the garage and yelled again.
See, it looks like somebody's sitting there. I've said it how many times on this, and I think they did talk to that police officer. I think he did say that. I can't remember where it was at. I needed to find that clip, but mentioned that there was somebody that they thought was sitting in that chair, and then they thought somebody was over by the refrigerator or can't even talk, refrigerator. Wow. And then you see a little light open up, and then somebody's like, well, it's coming from outside of the window but there's nobody that lived back there. Nobody lived in those complexes behind the Watts yet.
When they opened the garage door, however, the lights were off. They searched every inch of the house, but no one was there.
Were they on a
There
timer?
was no way out of the garage without coming into the house, and without opening.
So that means the garage lights were on. I know I'm dumbing it down for myself, but if you guys need to. So the garage lights were on. They came in. They went into the front of the house. Lights went off. I wonder if they were on a timer. I don't think that, or on like a sensor. But then again, if they were on a sensor, somebody had to trip that light to go on. Interesting.
The big garage door, but then they would have no way to shut it. It was obvious on the police cam videos that they felt something too. They kept shining their lights into the darkness over and over. Who turned the lights on? Who turned them off? Still another evening at 9:05 p.m., the police were called to the house regarding an unknown person seen going up to the house. Upon arrival, the police advised the neighbor from next door that had a...
And yet there are people, obviously the Shanann haters, that are like, oh, you're just bringing up some random bull crap to make, how do I want to say this? To keep this case alive for no apparent reason. It's literally right here. Mysterious unknown woman, multiple times seen going into the house, never leaving, or in a black SUV coming up. We're not making this crap up, people. And then everybody's like, well, the DA doesn't want to do anything, so get over it and move on. Just because this DA doesn't want to do anything doesn't mean the next DA or somebody else doesn't want to take this.
Video to point toward the Watts' house. The video showed a large black vehicle pulling up to the address, 2825 Saratoga Trail, and then an unknown female stepped out of the vehicle and walked up to the door of the house. The police said the woman could not be seen leaving the residence, and the garage lights came on when they had been off. As the police entered the house, they gave loud announcements they were entering, but no one was there. They searched the house again and found no one.
But they never checked the attic. That's the problem. The attic that was inside the laundry room, we never see them actually go up there. Chris did mention that there was a few feet to be able to go up in there. If you look at the house, all that unused space up there. And you can crawl up there from the washer and dryer. It's super easy to do.
They turned off all lights that were on in the house and locked the doors as they left.
See, look at this. If this is so let's think that this right here, this level right here, or this line is the ceiling. From there to the top of here, the vent is actually going to be to keep the air from molding and from keeping somewhat of a breeze going through into there, but not completely. Or this one could be just a mock where it maybe look like it. But again, from this level to that level, that's almost like a good 8 feet that somebody could be hiding up there. Nobody actually went into the attic.
On September 21st, 2018, the police received yet another message from some unknown person who said, her deceased daughter's back door is open at her house. This is the home of Shanann.
Somebody was either trying to get in or got in and was hiding. There's no way you can't tell me this. Because multiple times sensors went off. People were seeing, our neighbors saw somebody going in. Some speculation is that it's Shanann's ghost, which I highly doubt from going outside to the inside. But again, I don't think that's what it is. I think it's NK.
Watts. The police walked the perimeter of the home. All doors and windows were secure, and there was no sign of forced entry to the home. Again at 8:50 p.m., another call came in to respond to the residence. There were lights on that had not been on earlier. Several police officers responded. They searched the residence again. There were lights on, but they did not see that anything was bothered. They turned off the lights and left, making sure all doors were locked. What or who?
Okay, so a lot of folks
I really want to know what she says.
are into paranormal, so please jump in that comment section and let me know what you think about one of those incidents. I believe we do know that it was a Watts family member that entered the house, but why did she not show up on camera leaving? So I'm not sure. I mean, I cannot confirm.
A Watts family member. They were in North Carolina. Because this happened on September.
That information for you, unfortunately. But what do you think? There's people who said they've seen a woman just kind of strolling around, lights going off. You know, there's the video of the doll making the laughing, giggling.
See, I've heard two different sides to this laughing thing that was inside the closet. There's one channel that we did watch not too long ago, or a few months back, that stated it was a toy. And then they said that the giggle sounded like NK. Like her, I'm not even going to play it because it's grotesque to hear. But I can't put my, and then some people think it's one of the children in paranormal giggling. I don't know. But again, if we watch the body cam footage, which is unedited, I've listened to the actual raw footage of the body cam and you can hear EVPs. Where's that coming from? I know there are people that are skeptical, that do not believe in the paranormal aspect. And everybody has their different versions of if you die, you're in slumber until obviously God has come back for the second coming and brings us all home for judgment. But then there's also people that believe that they go straight to heaven or they go straight to hell after they've been judged in front. We don't know. The book or Bible obviously tells us one way. Some people blow it out of proportion and say that there's different level. Like, I'm not even going to get into it, but I don't know. Why are the EVPs showing up on the body cam footage? Police are not going to sit there and edit it or do all that stuff, whatever have you. It's literally of them going into the location. They're not going to, I don't know how to say it. There is weird phenomenon that have happened within the first few days of the body cam footages.
Noise in the closet when the canine is searching. So what do you think? All right, looking at my notes again for chapter 24. This is before Chris has been moved to Wisconsin. We are still in Colorado. He has had no contact with his family because his attorney said, no contact. Every phone call is recorded. Every piece of mail comes in is recorded,
Which again, let's get into people that love Team Chris. They want to sit there and say that his rights were not included. He gets the one phone call, but the way I've looked into it, he technically doesn't have to have the rights to talk to his family. It could be different in certain locations, obviously, different states, different cities, whatever have you. But the way that I was looking at it, they didn't have to let him talk to his parents. He could have talked to an attorney, but again, it's like it's like that gray gap where there's the right answers, the wrong answers, and the in between there, it's kind of like kind of thing.
Is out there for the public to see, which we will do another video on that later. But they advised him no communication with your family. So this is why Cindy Watts is so confused. She is like, why are you pleading guilty?
She's confused because she's probably going to tell us, but she's confused because her little boy is not a murderer. No, or yes, ma'am, she is, or he is.
To this, because remember, in his investigative interview with police, he said Shanann was the one responsible. So,
But I only think he said that because of what Tammy Coder said. And again, I'm not blaming Tammy, but I think he was like, oh, that does make sense. I'm going to use that.
his parents are thinking, why are you taking responsibility for this when you didn't do anything? So that morning before sentencing, Chris is able to have a conversation with his parents, but he doesn't tell them anything. He just tells them, I am pleading guilty for a reason. And that's all. And that's it. So they've never really had the full story.
So that puts a whole wrench in your guys' Team Chris crap. He could have talked to his family. He didn't. Was he told to not say anything? Probably. But he still could have said something.
Until later. And apparently Sherilyn Cadle says the reason he agreed to do this book deal with her was because this was the best way he could explain to his parents why he did what he did.
Without talking to him face to face?
Finding out from a book
I'd be pissed.
Someone else wrote how everything happened.
I still don't think it's
crazy.
Completely 100%.
Also, the DA tells us he was eager to go with the death penalty, but as we know, Shanann's mom said no.
See, I've heard mixed things on that too. I've heard Shanann's mom wanted it, Shanann's dad didn't want it, and then I heard it was flip-flopped that the mom didn't want the death penalty, but the father wanted the death penalty. Then I heard they both didn't want it, and then I heard they both wanted it. It's like, what can you believe? It's completely spewing out of just, this could be the truth, that could be the truth, that could be fake. It's like, you don't even know what's happening in this case anymore, to say the least. Unless he's hooked up to a lie detector test. But again, that's not municipal in court, which is unfortunate. But it can give us a baseline of the truth and the false, because he's a great liar.
I don't think that it's right for us to take Chris's life.
So I do agree with her on that one. So the way I see it is I want it an eye for an eye, is the way I look at it. I'm pro death penalty, but again, in my religion, obviously my faith, it's not our job to take someone's life. That's God's job. It's his decision. It's his determination and what have you. But then somebody said in an interview, maybe it's God's decision for the death penalty. So he can be judged. But it's like, I don't know. There's that gray gap where you don't know exactly. But I do believe with her, I think he should suffer. He should suffer in this life and then suffer in the next. Because he took his family's life.
As you know, she went on Dr. Phil several months later when this book came out and found out the details when they went to Wisconsin. And she said, well, I would have picked the death.
Is she wait, hold on. Is she talking about Shanann's mom, or is she talking about Sherilyn Cadle? Because I don't remember Dr. Phil having Sherilyn Cadle. That was was that Oz? I think. Well, yeah.
Penalty. But now we can't go back in time. So it's really unfortunate. He just couldn't come clean before.
I still don't think he's come clean.
Deal to not get the death penalty.
I think he should have never. I'm sick of these murderers, pedophiles, the ones that commit the big like crimes. Like if a burglar, okay, give him a plea deal. But like again, the murderers, the pedophiles, the RAPE. I gotta watch what I say on YouTube, obviously. The people that commit the most heinous acts should not be giving a plea deal. lock them away in the dark. If they commit this crime, I feel that their rights should be removed as a human being. If they can't act as a human being, they don't get the right of being a human being. I think their rights should be taken away.
Penalty. Chris had to sign documentation to seal the girls' medical records.
50 years.
Now, and when I say girls, I mean everyone. Shanann, Bella, Cece. There are many people on Watts Island who feel the reason for the medical record seal
is to keep NK safe.
And they do get into this in the book. There's rumor of some type of CPS claim filed against Shanann.
What?
Something happened to the children.
I've never heard of that.
She wasn't supposed to be with the children for a certain amount of time, and that's why the kids were always in daycare. Or she was with her parents.
It's probably another Shanann hater rumor.
In North Carolina. She always had to have supervision, is what those claims.
I was gonna say she's been, and I'm not yelling at or I'm not saying anything bad about Craft Evidence podcast. She's only doing what she can from her research, but I don't see this being I think it's another Shanann hater or Cindy Watts, Jamie Watts, whatever have you, spreading more drama. There's never been any evidence of a CPS documentation. Plus, the Ruseks have told us she was a great mom, loving mom. I don't believe that for a second.
Bizarre. I made records requests and cannot get any details on that. If anything comes about, I will let you know. This is how I do things. I do it just like old school journalism. I request those reports. I put in.
If you didn't know too, she's a retired journalist, which is kind of cool. She's a professional.
The information we're trying to find out and see what we can get back. So we don't really know why those medical records were sealed. There is also speculation.
What other reason do you think that those medical records were sealed for 50 years? Well, if you think about it, if and when they do open up in 80 years, most of us are not going to be here anymore. So Nicole's been able to live her life. Chris is still rotting in prison. And if the evidence does arise that possibly she was involved and there was marks on Bella, Celeste, or possibly help on Shanann, which I highly doubt because I've looked at the autopsy and the discovery, and they did mention that there was no like bindings on their hands. There was little light bruising, or there was bruising around her neck, obviously. There was a couple bruisings on her legs, but that could be from anything. So I don't really know why it would, one, to hide from to hide NK, or to keep her not included. And then after that 50 years, she's lived her life. Are you gonna put a 93-year-old woman, or she was 30, was she 33 at the time, 32? So 50 years, that's 82 years old. I mean, she's pretty much lived her life. I mean, the life expectancy of a woman is 78. A man is 73. It's probably because of all the stupid stuff we do, but just saying.
That people think that Shanann didn't have lupus because
she had
the
lupus.
Autopsy report said no disease found. Well, I'll tell you this. I have a chronic illness called MS. Multiple sclerosis, and it is very hard to diagnose this. It is not something that comes up in the blood easily, just like lupus. There are several tests that are run and based on something called
headaches, rashes, fever, hair loss, shortness of breath, fatigue, mouth sores, swollen glands, swollen in your arms, which a lot of the things that are on here, Shanann said she had. But then she started Thrive, which made her symptoms less or non-existent.
DNA in your blood can help a doctor determine whether you have it or not, similar to if some of
Man, maybe I have lupus. I feel like I have headaches, I have fevers, I have a lot of fatigue, shortness of breath, but that could be just because I'm a dad bod. Swollen glands, which they do. What is the one at the bottom?
you in here have
Blood clots. I don't have that. Confusion.
these are
I have confusion once in a while. I don't know if that's with me getting older, but I don't know.
chronic diseases that are extremely difficult to diagnose. So if she did have lupus, she did. If she didn't, hey, then she didn't. She was still raising awareness and raising.
I still think it's funny that they keep going into Shanann and what she did following up to the murders. She didn't murder Chris. Chris murdered her. They're trying to justify the murders like, oh, that's why he murdered. No. Stop it, you Shanann haters.
Funds for it. So good on her, but a lot of you, if you're into this case and you're on those Reddit threads, you know what I'm talking about.
I know, I've read them.
There's some people out there, there's some lingo that people use on Watts Island.
Yes.
I'm thinking about doing a video on that as well.
She
But
should.
getting back to this chapter, Chris said he was always planning to plead guilty no matter what.
That's a little.
That seemed odd to me.
Yeah.
You knew you were going to move forward with what you did and you were going to plead guilty. Just doesn't make sense. Just doesn't.
It doesn't. I agree with her.
Also, again, in this chapter, talks about how he was obsessed
With Nichol.
with planning these murders.
He was obsessed.
I hate to sound morbid, but Chris is just an idiot. Like, remember when he was sitting down?
Say it, sister. I hear you.
And they said, Tammy and Lee said to him, what are some certain ways you could kill someone? And he said,
He
you
laughed.
could make it look like an accident. You could trick them into a trap, you know, all these things. So it does make me wonder, did he try to attempt to kill her with an overdose of oxycodone, hoping
Ding.
he would pass away, and then he would have custody of the girls?
And get the life insurance policy.
Or, God forbid, if he was just trying to make Shanann mad. Imagine if he had given the girls tree nuts or something, you know, something they were allergic to, and then they had some type of reaction while she was out of town. And then she got so upset she would say, I'm done with you, Chris. I'm done. And then that way he's divorced and he can share custody with her. It's just like this guy seriously was not a mastermind. So
He was the puppet. And somebody was the puppeteer. It's like the reason why I'm so like frustrated and annoyed. It's like I know there's this evidence, and we can't touch it because they won't let us. But we know the evidence is there. But they're like, what? What evidence? I don't see nothing. I just see myself getting paid even more and retiring with a lot of money and a good name. But that's about it. I see nothing. That's literally what they're doing.
the whole planning and plotting and obsessing over how he was going to do this, I really would like to know, what are some of the other ways you planned to do this? And also, I'm going to throw this tidbit in there that is not in the book, but
I'll say, let me guess. He watched CSI and he knows how to hide a dead body or murder somebody and not let it get seen. Like, that's what everybody says. They're like, I've watched CSI. I know what I'm talking about.
there's
No, you don't.
speculation that he didn't mean to take the girls' lives. And Nicole Kessinger says something very interesting in an interview. That
Please tell me it's the one I know.
Explain that. I don't even think there is an answer. I don't even think there's
Yes.
any sort of like computing up here that could possibly give a rational explanation.
Well, right there, she calls them dumb.
For why that would have happened. I mean, the only thing that I've honestly thought of when I play the scenario over in my head is that maybe they woke up and saw him doing in their mom.
What interview is this in?
And he was like, fuck. Now I gotta do this too. I don't know. I'm like, why? Because they were like his like little lifeline, you know, he that was everything to him, you know, and I get like those two have problems.
But he had a great relationship, but from what you're accounting is
With his kids?
He loved his children.
Yeah, like that part, it's, oh my God, that's the worst part of this whole mess. The worst part of this whole mess.
We won't dwell on it. We don't have to dwell on it. Let me ask you,
Yes, it's very bizarre of her to say.
That is very bizarre.
And to close this chapter, we're obviously talking about this sentence and the impact statement that Shanann's mom made. I want to play a clip of that for you to listen to.
First time I watched it, I cried.
Because he pled guilty, we didn't really get to investigate this case. As
No trial.
Lee said, I feel like I was just scratching the surface. And this was an opportunity for the district attorney.
You know how you have a level bar for like your battery on your phone? Usually 100% would mean justice is fulfilled. Everything has been looked at. We're good to go. I think we're like 30 to 40%. We got Chris. Yes. But like another 60% to 50% is missing. And wouldn't you be bugged out if your phone was at 50% all the time? You'd be like, no, I gotta go plug it in. I gotta find the charger. I gotta find the justice, the evidence. Come on, people.
To lay everything out there publicly and make Chris listen to the details of what he did. Or look at pictures of what he did and ask the family to leave the room while they do this. But force him.
Make that man watch every disgusting picture that they had to unfortunately take to show how monstrous this man was.
To see what he did.
Only for him. I don't want to see it. I know you guys don't want to see it, but we want him to see it. He should be locked in one of those like chairs that keeps his head, and he can't, and then like they put things in his eyes where he can't close his eyes, and he has to watch every single picture, every single little thing. He should have to sit there and watch.
And who he traumatized.
That's prison for him.
I don't know, you know, that's not my field, but I know a lot of people in that field are saying he really dropped the ball. Let's be honest, he was probably exhausted and traumatized from this whole ordeal and wanted to be done with it and put him behind bars, throw away the key and be done with it.
Really, FBI, the DA's office, the CBI.
I feel so
exceptional work. We thank Nichol Atkinson.
Watching her lips tremble and her jaw just, and then watching Frankie Senior and the way he's bawling in the stands, and then that there's people that are like, Team Chris, it's not over. We're fighting for you. Are you kidding? How is that in equal victimization? The Ruseks are victims. Yes, the Watts technically are victims of the granddaughters, but their son is the one that murdered them that we know of. And then there's still people out there that are shouting and proclaiming Team Chris. Why? Hello?
Shannon's neighbor, Nathan, and his family. To me, they're our heroes. They really are. God.
Amen. That
God
judge.
Who he puts in your life. Marriage is about love, trust, and friendship and unity. We marry for sickness and health to death do us part. Our daughter Shanann loved you with all of her heart. Your children loved you to the moon and back. Shannon's family was her world. Shanann put a crown on your head. But unfortunately, the day that you took their life, God removed that crown. We loved you like a son. We trusted you. Your faithful wife trusted you. Your children adored you, and they also trusted you. Your daughter Bella Marie sang a song proudly. I don't know if you got to see it, but it was, Daddy, you're my hero. I have no idea who gave you the right to take their lives. But I know God and his mighty angels were there at that moment to bring him home to paradise. God gives us free will. So not only did you take the family of four, your family of four.
He took his life.
You took your own life. I want the world to know that our daughter and her children were so loved by us. They will always be protected by God and his mighty angels. I didn't want death for you because that's not my right. Your life is between you and God now, and I pray that he has mercy for you. From Shannon's mother, Bella Marie.
That's it? I wanted more. Is there a part 2? Hold on. Oh. Well, hopefully she makes a part 2. I'm definitely, maybe we can talk about it on the live this Sunday. Definitely stay tuned in for that. But definitely let me know your thoughts. This new channel, Crafted Evidence Podcast, definitely A+ job. Definitely go over to her channel, give her some love. You know the deal. But I would love to know your guys' thoughts and everything that she talked about, I've talked about, and so forth. So please do that. Don't forget to share with your friends and your family or anybody you guys know. And we will see you guys in the next video. So please take care, be safe, and as always, keep nerding on. And we will see you guys in the next video.